Hi everyone, Andrew Schultz, Principal Broker with Own Buffalo Inc. here, and I wanted to take some time today to bring you up to speed on the eviction moratoriums here in the state of New York, what the current status is, and the recent legislation or recent executive order signed by Governor Cuomo on August 5th, which was a couple days ago, with regards to the current eviction moratoriums. I'm going to switch over to our desktop screen here because I wanted to show this to you. This is Executive Order 202.55. This is coming right from the governor's website. You can Google this, just search Executive Order 202.55. This will pop right up. This is the continuation of the existing executive orders 202.28 and 202.48. If you want to Google those talk about the eviction moratorium. But essentially what's happened here is Governor Cuomo has extended those moratoriums out to September 4th, 2020. And I wanted to take a minute to run through that and explain what that means for housing providers here in the Western New York region and really across the state. But most of my focus is going to be here in the Western New York region so that we know what to do moving forward in terms of these moratoriums. So the legislation that was signed on Wednesday the 5th, August 5th, extends the moratorium from August 20th through September 5th. And Governor Cuomo has come out saying that this will likely continue to be extended until he decides that the COVID crisis is over. Those are his words, not mine. Feel free to Google them if you are interested. Courts here in Western New York do remain closed for evictions as well as most other civil cases currently. You do have the option of mailing in your petition to the court. They're not going to issue you a court date yet, but in theory, this would put your case in the queue to be processed before the floodgates open whenever the eviction moratoriums are eventually lifted. Go ahead and serve your 14 and 5-day notices. Don't delay on doing that. You have to do that before you can mail in your petition. So go ahead and do those do those notices and mail in your petition so that you can get in line. So that when the gates do open, when court dates do start getting issued, that you can be at the front of the line. You can also serve your non-renewal notices. Keep in mind that the tenant, if you have a tenant that's in an apartment and they're paying rent, if you serve them a non-renewal notice, chances of them continuing to pay rent are going to be pretty slim. If they don't pay you rent, you don't have that eviction in your back pocket right now to go and say, well, now they're not paying me, I want them evicted for non-payment. You don't have that in your back pocket at the moment. So if you're going to send a non-renewal notice, be very careful, be very cautious about who you're sending those to and what the ultimate reaction from that tenant is going to be, because you don't want to find yourself in a position where you have a tenant that was paying and just stops because you decided to make a move to remove them from a unit. No non-payment eviction will be granted due to a hardship caused by COVID. You should still file anyway. The tenant has to prove that there is a hardship in the court, and the courts have to review that hardship defense. So you may still be awarded a money judgment against the tenant for the rents that are owed to you. You would not get an eviction for non-payment, but at least you come out with something. And you may find that the court does not give the hardship. So definitely file. It's up to the court to decide whether or not that the hardship defense is valid or not, but you won't know until you file and get to the courthouse to actually have that discussion. It's unclear currently whether pre-COVID petitions and warrants are going to be heard and executed. We're waiting on kind of for lack of a better term, a decision from the New York State, the Office of Court Administration. It needs to issue a decision on that. Once they've made a decision on that, there will be some clarity as to whether the pre-COVID cases at this point can continue to be heard or can continue, if you had a case that was heard and a warrant was issued, whether or not that warrant could be executed. That's currently unclear, so we're waiting on some guidance from the Office of Court Administration before we really have too much more information on that. And one thing I do want to mention is that evictions due to lease noncompliance are not currently being heard in New York State. So, or at least in Western New York, excuse me. It might be a little bit downstate, a little bit different downstate, something like that. But currently evictions due to lease noncompliance are not currently being heard here in Western New York. So that kind of goes right along with your non-renewal notices as to how you want to think about going through and processing something like that. So guys, all of this being said, it's super important for me to reiterate the fact that I'm not an attorney. This was guidance that was presented to me partially by our attorney, and also just from doing our research and things like that. I believe the information that I'm conveying here to be accurate as of when I post this video, which will be on Friday, August 7th. You're going to want to talk to your attorney before you make any decisions based on anything you heard from some guy on the internet. So definitely take everything that I say and verify it against what your attorney has to say or the research that you're doing as well. All of that being said, there are a lot of opportunities where you can get more information about this and a ton of other things. We do run a series called Ask a Property Manager every Wednesday. That's a live series every Wednesday at 10 a.m. on Facebook. You can also catch new episodes of the Rent Prep for Landlords podcast every Thursday morning. You can catch that anywhere podcasts are heard or over at rentprep.com/podcasts. If you have questions for me and want to schedule a time to talk, you can grab a free 30-minute phone consultation or Zoom consultation. There's links for that over at www.ownbuffalo.com as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me today, to watch this video. Again, this video should not constitute legal, financial, or tax advice. Talk to your team before you make decisions based on the information you're hearing here today. But as of right now, the current state of affairs here in the state of New York is that the eviction moratorium has been extended from August 20th to September 5th. Do with that information what you will. I'm Andrew Schultz, Principal Broker for Own Buffalo. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.